peak as residents of Brema Jarama join forces to rebuild their weak school structure with support from donations so far mobilized under the Multimedia's Classroom project. We have details on the progress of construction. We also have sports and business all coming up in this hour. My name is Mapisa Sibidi. Stay for details. Thank you for staying for details. And our first story, the Ghana Police Service says it has suspended motor checks until further notice. According to a wireless message which has gone viral on social media, the service urges personnel to focus their energies on traffic management and control and road crashes. The statement warned of dealing with MTTD officers who go against the directive. Well, as relieving this could be for some motorists, there could, however, be other implications for commuters in general in terms of incidents of crime. So, what could be the purpose for this motor check suspension by MTTD personnel? We'll get details of that story later in the bulletin. Now, several labor unions in the country began the year with nationwide industrial actions. The major concern has been poor working conditions and have made cases for better conditions of service. Members of the Certified Registered Anesthetists were the first group of professions to register their grievances. On January 1st, they withdrew their services, and a letter co-signed by the President James Nisongra and General Secretary Frederick Kay explained that they took the decision because some members have not been duly licensed. Then the Teachers and Education Workers Union on Wednesday, January 5, also followed suit, following that what they called government's failure to pay all outstanding arrears relating to their professional development allowances. The union, however, at the close of business the same day, agreed to suspend the strike after an emergency meeting with the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, the Ghana Education Service, Ministry of Finance and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. The following day, Thursday, January 6, members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, also laid down their working tools indefinitely. The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, could not be moved by the raging labour unrest within that first week of the year. The association served notice it was embarking on strike January 10 with immediate effect to get government to address what they describe as worrying condition of service of lecturers. According to the association, government had breached the timelines agreed for resolution. UTAG therefore withdrew teaching and related activities. Among other things, the association wants government to reconsider the payment of its annual research allowance to a more realistic allowance, as they claim it is critical to their research output promotion and ultimately national development. They also want members to the 2013 interim market premium of 114% of basic salary in the interim restored. Parties are yet to reach a truce of the matter. Now, after several threats to also embark on a nationwide strike, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana is set to effect their threats on January 22nd to demand better conditions of service. Now, according to the association, a year after their proposed salary structure was sent to the Finance Ministry to deal with it, but it is yet to communicate anything to them despite persistent reminders. And speaking at the end of the year meeting, an awards ceremony held in the Upper Densha East Municipality of the Central Region, Executive Secretary of CLOSAG, Dr. Isaac Bampo-Addo, said the association feels sidelined, which leaves them with no option other than declaring an industrial action. You're still watching Joy News Desk with me, Mapisa Sibidi. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back with more. You're welcome back. Now, the quest to avert the reoccurrence of the tragedy which claimed the lives of 6 KG children in 2017 has revived the communal labour spirits among residents of Brema Jarama in the Central Region. As work progresses at the Community DA Basic School sites under the Multimedia Group's Classroom project, dozens of community members who have committed to providing labour in support of the project are honouring their words to ensure timely completion of the 3-unit classroom block. There's more in the following reports.
Led by their chiefs and elders, the local assembly, dozens of the community members converged at the construction site to dig the foundation for work to start. While the men dug for the foundation works, mixed concrete and molded blocks, the women fetched water among doing other auxiliary jobs to ensure progress of each day's work on site. A total of 51,000 Ghana cedis has been raised from a target of 155,000 Ghana cedis for 2 different classroom projects. 80% of materials needed for work to begin at the Breman Jamra site has been assembled out of the initial 51,000 Ghana cedis mobilized. With the help of an excavator and a tipper truck, the laterites required for the molding of the hydroform blocks were moved to site on the 30th of December 2021. Other materials including cement, 6-inch blocks, sand, chippings, iron rod and wood have also been assembled. Residents could not hold back their joy. They commended the multimedia group for committing to helping them rebuild the dilapidated school block.
I'm a assemblyman in my Jamra electoral area. Now, sending another new for it. You are a month school there. Every year, you are getting you become a facility DC Methodist one. And I say, I'm back multimedia for to one moment. They have come to site and what the material will be running. And what
I am the assemblyman for the Jamra electoral area. The multimedia group has come to site with the needed materials to build a school for us. We are grateful to Multimedia for the project. We hope it is completed on time.
I am very excited after seeing the materials that will be used to construct the new school block.
Engineer and hydroform technology expert Samuel Kofi Adenyega is optimistic. All things being equal, work will be completed on schedule.
If we don't have or we don't face any harsh weather conditions, latest by 1st week of February, we should be done with the project. So we are grateful. I mean, we are all supporting. And then those of you who are also bringing in the support, we urge that continue bringing them because we need it now to complete it within the estimated time.
Progress of work requires additional support, both in cash and in kind. The Jamrahene Nana Fusu III, expressing appreciation for work done so far, emphasized the need for more support.
I stand here on behalf of the Jamra people that we are so grateful to them for helping us in this manner. We will continue to ask humbly to everybody to also come and help us.
The classroom project is supported by the Israeli Embassy, Forestry Commission, the Planned City Extension Project, DBS Roofing Sheets, and all who have so far donated to support the project. The Multimedia's Classroom Project is brought to you in partnership with the Star Ghana Foundation and the West Africa Civil Society Institute under the Giving for Change project, with funding from the Dutch Foreign Affairs Ministry. The Classroom Project, promoting social justice through philanthropy. Amafa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli for Joy News, Breman Jamra.
For support, send your donations to MTN Momo number 059 303 8832. That's 059 303 8832, the Multimedia Group Joy FM, or you can call 030 2211 688 030 2211 688. Still on education, government's quest to enhance STEM education in the country is on course as an ultra-modern STEM facility being constructed in the Atiwa West district of the Eastern region is almost completed. It is one of the many STEM schools to be constructed in the country. Deputy Minister of Education John Timfojo, who toured the site, indicated pupils will be equipped to be inventors and innovators to facilitate growth in the country. Here's a report capturing his tour.
The facility is one of the 10 science, technology, engineering and mathematics, that is STEM schools, that government through the Ministry of Education is constructing. This ultra-modern facility, according to the consultant, will provide comfort and also boost interest of students who will be studying STEM courses. The science-focused school being built at Abomoso in the Atiwa West district of the Eastern region has 2 V blocks comprising a 24-unit and 29-unit classrooms. A Deputy Minister of Education, John Timfojo, has been given some more details.
Within these blocks, we have 12 units that are dedicated to be laboratories. We are going to have ICT laboratories, we are going to have science laboratories, chemistry lab, physics lab, biology lab, we're going to have robotic lab as well. And so, apart from the classroom block and the laboratories, we do have dormitories. 2 dormitories, one for girls, one for boys, with good capacity, with ultra-modern facilities, with good washrooms. At the same time, we have an assembly hall that can take not less than 2,000 students. We have a dining hall of a similar capacity. We have administration block as well. We have a sick bay that is fitted with nurses bungalow that are going to be resident here to ensure that healthcare delivery here right here on campus is very creditable. At the same time, we have on this campus an ultra-modern library that is going to house books for reading of students. We have thought about teachers because we don't want to only plan for students and have our teachers having to stay outside and struggling with accommodation. So we have 2 accommodation unit blocks that can cater to 12 teachers and their families. We do also have a principal's accommodation and 2 vice principals bungalows.
According to him, Ghana must progress and also increase the annual engineering graduates to boost the country's innovations.
Oftentimes, we have had people contend that we have very intelligent and smart students elsewhere. That is why even at the age of 12, we hear stories of students at the age of 12, at the age of 15 and 17 coming out with inventions and patenting some very strong innovations that are contributing to the rapid socio-economic development of their countries. But I always contend that we have more intelligent and gifted children and students in Ghana than any other country. So whatever facility that those students have been exposed to that is accelerating their giftedness, President Akufo-Addo, Dr. Baumia and Dr. Yaoseduchum have decided that we bring the same facilities right here in Ghana. And so the kind of facilities you find here, they are just like you find in any top school in any advanced country. And it's going to be free. So these are schools that are going to have higher quality than even some private schools that people, pay dollars and what have you, huge sums of money to access in many other countries, even in this country. This is going to outcompete those schools, and it's going to be free.
The Deputy Minister added, these schools will be staffed with quality teachers as well as appropriate teaching and learning materials to motivate students to venture into STEM education.
So we assure parents, we assure students that STEM education has kicked off and that Ghana is going to make a difference. We are going to resort to education as a credible strategy for rapid socio-economic transformation.
The project consultant Samuel Adai assured the facility will be ready in February.
In fact, you hear people saying we haven't built any secondary school from scratch. At least this one you've seen from Virgin Forest, we are almost through. So we promise the minister within a month, we'll make sure at least we get to a usable stage so that the school can start.
To other stories now, police in the Ashanti region have mounted a search for 2 gunmen suspected to have snatched a red Toyota Corolla vehicle at Santasi in Kumasi with a baby inside the car. This comes after police retrieved the vehicle, which was abandoned at Dakodom, a few meters from where the vehicle was snatched after a chase by the police patrol team. Police found the baby safe inside and have since reunited the child with the mother. Police say the vehicle was snatched by unidentified gunmen at the Good Hope Chapel. Ashanti Regional Police Bureau Godwin Ahenyo explains.
On Sunday, 16 January 2022, police had information that a red Toyota Corolla with a child on board has been snatched from its owner at Santasi at a church called Good Hope Chapel by some unidentified gunmen. The police, upon receipt of the information, swiftly set out all patrol vehicles and motorbikes within the metropolis in search of the vehicle and its occupant, that's the suspect. Sensing danger on the approach of a police vehicle and a taxi cab, the suspect abandoned the vehicle around Dakodom and fled into a nearby bush. As we speak, the vehicle has since been driven to the regional police headquarters and the child reunited with the mother. Meanwhile, the police patrol vehicles are pursuing the suspect and all other operational units have been activated to assist in that regard. I would like to use this opportunity or this platform to reassure the general public of the command's resolve to ensuring that the metropolis is safe as well as the region. We would also like to appeal to the general public to give information, any credible information that will lead to the activities of criminals within the metropolis and the region at large, to be able to clamp down on these suspected criminals. Thank you.
Car detailing is a job dominated by men and once seen as an expensive luxury for many vehicle owners. One young woman is hoping to break through into the industry and build Ghana's first all-female car detailing shop. My colleague Justice Bedu went to meet her.
I personally like motorbikes. I like motorbikes a lot. I would pick a motorbike over a car 1,000 times. So sometimes when you're coming, and I work with time, for me not to get here late, I have to take a motorbike. I'm Faisal Naila Ologo.
3 years ago, Naila was at the crossroads in her life. She had just come out of senior high school, no job, no money to move on to university, and even if she had, she didn't make the grades enough to get her into the course of her dream.
The goal was to actually find something that I would find happiness in doing. I found myself in the automobile industry.
In 3 years, this young woman has gone from an amateur in this business to detailing some of the most expensive cars you can have. Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, Benz, BMW, you name it.
How would they see a male and give the work to a female? It's being believed that when the work is being given to a man, they do it much better. Okay? Because it's a male-dominating, world, and a female being in that position, doing that kind of work, okay, it's not so easy for them to easily trust and then just give the work to you. They don't trust the process until the work is delivered.
The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics show that only 1 in 10 people in the automotive repair and maintenance industry is a woman. The situation is not very different in Ghana. Naila wants to help change the trend.
An example is like somebody telling me, how would they see a male and give it to a female? You understand me? But for that same reason, somebody would actually give it to you. The person would freely give it to you. Do you understand me? So somebody would actually come with this reason, and for that same reason, somebody would actually give you that work. I'm looking at working with a lot of females. There has to be females everywhere you pass in my company. Okay, because I see a lot of potential in that. So there's a lot we can do. We don't only have to be selling, sitting inside the office. I mean, there are so many things we female can actually do. Okay, and these are one of the things. So I really want to motivate females into getting into this business because I would like to work with just females one day.
Naila Faisal has now gained admission into the University of Ghana after bettering her grades while on this job, and now hopes that her dream would blaze the trail for many more women to enter this industry. Justice Beidou, Joy News, Accra.
On that note, we take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the international rating agency Fitch has downgraded Ghana's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to B- from B with a negative outlook. The downgrade of Ghana's IDRs and negative outlook reflects the sovereign's loss of access to international capital markets in the second half of 2021 following a pandemic-related surge in government debt. Speaking on the AM show today, an associate professor in economics, Festus Eboturkson, said there are structures to move the economy forward. He, however, questions government's decision to task the ordinary citizens at a time very little is being done to seal the leakages in the public purse.
So when I say we need to increase tax mobilization effort, I'm not meaning that we need to introduce new taxes and all of that. Like you rightly said, we need to be very efficient. We need to ensure that our public sector is very efficient, and those slippages that leave the system that should have been revenue that is collected is minimized. I mean, there is no doubt that these things will happen, and there should be institutions in place to ensure that if that happens, people are punished to serve as a deterrent. And even there are policies in place to ensure that those leakages do not occur. So you actually said that we should be very efficient in the mobilization of our domestic resource basket. But most importantly, I think that in all of this, providing the right support to the Ghana Revenue Agency should help. We need to also take advantage of our digitization drive to also ensure that businesses that go online, the government is able to collect the taxes that have to be collected. And as Ghanaians, we need to also come to a realization that we can only fund our development and no one else. I mean, if we're raising enough revenue to fund our development, this issue of our international capital market and all of that will not come up. So it's important that, as Ghanaians, I'm not calling for the introduction of new taxes, but we should be up to our civil responsibilities to try as much as possible to pay taxes when we are supposed to pay, especially for those in the informal sector, and for us to be a little bit protected by ensuring that in whatever role we play, wherever it is, we ensure that some of these leakages out of the tax revenue stream are minimized.
Right.
And it's very, very important. And also, it's important that the government will also ensure that the public sector is very efficient in its expenditure. Rationalize our expenditure, make sure that we are being very efficient.
Right.
So that at the end of the day, our fiscal deficit would be manageable, and then it begins to give a clear signal to the credit rating agencies that Ghana is doing something about it.
Okay.
I've had discussions about Ghana going back to the IMF for credibility, because that is what can only assure the investors that we are doing something about our situation and there's no need for panic. I mean, if it gets to that point, and that's what we need, I don't have any problem if the government will go back to the IMF. for the IMF to assure that the plans that the government has put in place would be carried out to its conclusion, so that we can have a little bit of reduced interest rate on the international capital market.
Right.
Economic policy analyst Lord Mensah, also speaking on the same show, said that rates for taxes such as the e-levy are too high. He believes even if the public must be taxed, it should be done at a gradual pace.
A country like Ghana will be relying on taxes and levies to build its economy. I mean, we were here when we had promises like from taxation to production. And if we are to move from taxation to production, then we should expect that, the drivers of revenue generation for this economy should be production. But we didn't see that. But then let's look at the e-levy per se. Yeah, clearly, the e-levy, I'm not against e-levy. I mean, every economy, when you exhaust all your resources, I mean, we had diamond, we had gold, we had, recently petrol and all those. You realize that relying on it for some time, it's going to dwindle. You cannot continue to rely on revenue from these, natural resources forever. And so once you lose your natural resources, the replacement is human resource. And taxes evolves around human activities. So as a result of that, if you are going to, raise revenue through levies and taxes, I'm not against it. But sometimes the margins that the government wants to rake in, and then sometimes the hardships that the economic agents are facing may not necessarily help in introducing things like that. So for instance, if you want to introduce taxes or levies, you should expect that every now and then, economic agent, if I say economic agent, I'm talking about, government is of the economic agent, also part economic agent, and then individuals are also part of the economic agent. If you want to introduce taxes, then you have to make sure that the economic agent and you introduce taxes, they will not feel it as, expected. What do we see? For the past 5 years, we see only government in business. The reason why I'm saying this is that even though we can see monetary policy rates coming down and all those, at the banking hall, individuals to confidently walk to the bank and say, I'm coming to borrow, for businesses to walk to the banks to say that I'm coming to borrow, and then I'll use that to expand my business, and therefore I'm going to employ, and through the employment, people will be engaged. And once they get engaged and they go on talk on their phone every now and then, you can start, taxing them. Once they start getting engaged and they get employed and they are transferring funds from one part of the economy to the other, you should be able to tax them. But this is not the case. That is why you always see, the economic agent resisting anytime government tries to introduce a levy. And so I will say that, yes, fine, I'm for it. But in the end, the economy must be well engaged. The people within the economy must be well engaged before you start introducing, such taxes.
All is up next with business.
And fluctuations in fuel prices on their operations. According to the president of Tour Operators Union of Ghana, Alisa Osei Asamoah, there are ongoing discussions with stakeholders to cushion industry players. Speaking to Joy Business after the inauguration of the board for the Chamber for Tourism Industry Ghana, she called on government to stabilize fuel prices. Here's more in this report. A recent report by the Institute for Energy Security predicted that fuel prices are likely to hit 7 cedis per litre as pump prices are expected to be increased are expected to increase between 30 pesos to 40 pesos a litre. Industry players in the tourism sector are lamenting the impact of the constant rise in fuel prices on the operations. Yes, President of Tour Operators Union of Ghana, Alisa Osei Asamoah.
You know, the fuel prices affected us, but the fortunate thing is we have negotiated with them, and we are still negotiating with people, car rentals and VIPs. So what happened was the increment, the percentage wasn't too much. For the general public, for example, if the percentage is 5%, we were able to maintain at least 1%. So the impact wasn't great. But at the end of the day, it really affected us. That's why most of us who have done the costing already, but we swallowed it. So we are hoping that it will be stable. They will stabilize it, that it won't affect all of us.
Meanwhile, the Chamber for Tourism Industry Ghana has inaugurated a new board. Speaking after the ceremony, Chief Executive Emmanuel Treku urged the public to patronize local tourism.
It's a milestone in the institution of the Chamber and also the tourism fraternity in Ghana. Of course, there should be added management or present management practices in what we do. So it's timely we have an astute board that will steer the affairs of the chamber. COVID has really done us a disservice, but then we will not say it's bad. Where it's time that now we promote our domestic tourism, and this is where we need all and sundry to get on board. At least we all travel to funerals. If you attend a funeral, make a time to visit a location or a site in your community.
Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Jones Nelson, stated the industry is bouncing back, but indicated that more needs to be done to revive the sector following the advent of COVID-19.
Gradually, we are picking up the bits and pieces. You remember a year of return in 2019, so that brought in a lot of people. People also cashed in, so it increased the tourism revenues as well as the numbers. In 2019, we have 3 billion. We cashed in 3 billion into the economy, and then coupled with a corresponding 1.1 million tourists. But just as COVID came in, if you compare even last year, 2020 to 2021, you realize that we are picking up the bits and pieces. Let us continue to bounce back as a tourism industry, because the tourism industry is one of the backbones of economies in the world.
President of Blue Crest College, Dr. Anand Agrawal, disclosed projects the school is embarking on to promote tourism.
There are a lot of peculiar things and strengths of the Ghana which we need to promote, which will help in development of tourism further. So we have a very strong school called School of Fashion and Design in Blue Crest University College, and African fashion, and especially the Ghanaian fashion and the things like kente are very popular here. Tie and dye are very popular across the region, not only in Africa but also in other countries. And if the tourism is strong, we can actually get exchange students to Ghana in large numbers that will promote tourism, that will also promote the strengths of Ghana in the world. So we are planning to have a collaboration with CTI on these fronts.
Now, a yet-to-be-named investor is expected to take 80% shares in the Ghana Bauxite Company. Bauxite Group, the majority shareholders in Ghana Bauxite Company, is offloading its shares to another private investor. Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, George Mekuduka, has assured the process facilitated by government will not affect the workforce. Nanaya Ojima was at a meeting between the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and staff of the company and has filed this report.
Exploration of bauxite at Awaso started in 1940. For about a decade, the company posted losses but made efforts at reducing the loss. Following intervention of Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation as government representative in the company and challenges with renewal of lease, the Bauxite Group opted out of the business. Mr. Mekuduka explains processes taken by Bauxite to offload their shares.
We've gone through all the processes. The future is bright, and in due course, the person or the entity that Bauxite offloaded the shares to will be made known by the sector minister Honorable Samuel Abujinapo. So I'm reassuring you that the process hasn't been truncated. We are on course. All the legal processes are being followed. Bosai, going through all the company protocols of handing over their shares to any interested party that they are, will find a way of acknowledging. They are doing so, and government is also assisting them to do so.
There have been assurances of increase in staff strength, contrary to speculation of job losses.
This company is in no way retrenching any workforce or any worker. We are with you, or rather deepen and strengthen and enlarge the work base of this company.
Meanwhile, staff of GBC have welcomed government intervention. Frederick Sarkodie Pepra is head of finance.
The main difficulty we had at the time was the lease renewal. Now we know the information that has been delivered today that the lease has been looked into, and therefore we know we are not going home. So we want to thank them for what they've done for us, and we continue to remember what they have done for about 5,000 people not to go home, those who depend on this company directly or indirectly. More than 5,000 people depend on this company. So if this company did not collapse, then we thank God for that, and we thank them too for the role that they've played. Thank you.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
And that's business. Sports is coming up next. Do stay tuned.